What's going on, guys? It's your boy Motoman Dan, and today we're talking about Kingdom Rush. Now there's going to be a handful of these back to back because this series is going to be alphabetical to what I played so far, and this is the first one in the installment of the Kingdom Rush series by Ironhide Games. Now this one I believe came out on Flash, similar to original Bloons and Gymcraft and all the real heavy hitters that have lasted the test of time. Now this one, of course, all of them have been ported onto Steam, and it works really well on Steam. So that's where they're at for these videos. Kingdom Rush is a very good tower defense game. It has some uniqueness with the heroes and stuff not being a super traditional tower defense game, and the towers themselves cannot be freely placed. However, what it makes up for in that aspect of the tower defense, or what it lacks in that aspect of tower defense, it makes up for in other ways. And we'll talk about that here today. So, for towers, 10 out of 10. The towers themselves, you get 4 of them that you can pick. And it does get better over time, but for the time that this is released, it is really, I mean, it's great. The towers you get is Archer Tower, Cannon Tower, Magic Tower, and a Barracks Tower. The cool synergy between the towers and the enemies is some enemies are good against certain towers, and certain towers are good against certain enemies, depending on the upgrades you choose. So you can kind of counterbalance the enemy's bonuses against a certain tower. For example, an armor type, or some sort of special that they have where, you know, they regenerate a lot, so slow DPS isn't going to be super effective. Some enemies are fast and they can maybe avoid some of your barricade towers, for example, in which case you might want something else to help out with that. There's a lot of synergy between the towers, so you might combo barricade with crowd control, Archer Tower with like a really strong cannon tower, or maybe you'll add like a magic tower with that for insta-kill and send back. With insta-kill for the Archer Tower, you might have a lot of that. It really just depends on what it is that you're trying to run for what you think the best strategy is. So there's a lot of synergy within the towers themselves. So I give it and the upgrades are great. So you have 3 tiers of upgrades, and then on top of that, then you have the specialty upgrades as well once you get to the special tiered towers, and each of them have 2 different tiers, or 2 different specialties that you can go to, and each of those specialties have 2 different upgrades that you can upgrade up to 3 times. So, towers, I give it a 10 out of 10. For enemies, 10 out of 10. The enemies are great in this game. The whole entire franchise is just awesome. You can easily tell what they do. You can click on them. There's an encyclopedia for all the towers, for all the enemies, and there's just so much uniqueness with all of them. They're all very special in their own way. I mean, the enemies are great. That being said, progression is great. When it goes to the easiest map, you get the easiest enemies, and then it scales up, and then it tells you every time there's a new enemy, it tells you exactly what it does, what its strengths are, that sort of thing. And then whenever you play through the maps, you get 3 stars, and then you can go back and play through challenge modes for additional stars, which the stars matter for part of the progress of the game. I mean, you can kind of play the game without necessarily needing to use that for progress, but it can help you in progressing through the game. Special enemies, 10 out of 10. The bosses in this game are absolutely amazing. Every section has its own boss, so there's plenty of those, and there's plenty of enemies that well, I guess it really is mostly just the bosses, and then there's mini bosses as well that you'll have on certain maps, which, I mean, I think the enemies are this is probably one of the best games for enemies in tower defense there is, for special enemies and regular enemies. For the resource, I give it a 5 because there's really no extra resource generation. You can send out waves early, but that's it. Other than end of round bonus and the bonus you get for killing enemies, there's nothing that you can invest in. There's no bonuses that you can get for income or anything like that, so resource is going to be a 5. For the micro to pacing ratio, there's no hotkeys for anything microable. There's no targeting for traps or anything like that. However, the pacing of the game is a very good pace for the amount of micro that you have to do, which, like I said, isn't much. Really, the only kind of micro that you can do is whenever your barricade units die, you can upgrade it and then instantly respawn, and you can also re-target the barricades gather point as well. So that's a little bit of the micro you can do. But the pacing of the game is very, very on point with not needing to necessarily have hotkeys, you know. Like a lot of games can benefit from having hotkeys and quick upgrades and stuff, but I don't think this game does. And the targeting is pretty realistic as well. Everything basically targets the first thing. I do kind of wish you could target maybe a little differently, but I don't know if it would help a ton. I would like to maybe see that have happened in this game to really make it great, but that's okay. The micro to pacing ratio, I give it a 7. The macro play, give it a 10. So you have a hero that you can use. Spacebar moves the hero. The hero has abilities that they just automatically cast on cooldown when the situation arises. So we're playing with the Ice Queen. She has an area of effect slow, and then like an icicle thing as well. As well as her regular attacks are magical. And you can move her around, use her to kind of be a decoy for enemies, backup, use spells. You also have number 1, which is a meteor shower thing, and then number 2 is a reinforcements thing, so you can strategically place those around as well to help slow down the enemies or group them up, or even take out flyers because they're ranged. So maybe you can put them in the front of the track to attack flyers, put them at the back of the track to clean up enemies, that sort of thing. And you can also call waves early. So macro play, I give it a 10 out of 10. For map design, it's amazing. 10 out of 10. All the maps are great. All the maps are unique. They take place in different sections of this fantasy world or whatever. Some of the maps you're going to have multiple exit points for the enemies, and so you're going to have to defend those. Some of the maps have a very easy time with using barricade units. Some of the maps are not built for barricade units at all. You don't want to use them because they're going to be very difficult to use. And all of the maps really encourage, I think, the use of a conglomeration of towers to work together cohesively. So for that reason, I give the map design 10 out of 10. For the strategy to combat ratio, it's pure strategy. Even though there is a hero, you don't really do anything with the hero. So you're not playing the hero, you're playing the game. The hero is just like almost like another part of the game itself, of the towers themselves. So strategy to combat, I give it a 10 out of 10. The replayability, I give it a 4 out of 10 because there's no endless, there's no survival, whatever, play until you can't play anymore. Although the waves do, the games can last a good little while with 20 waves on some of these. The replayability comes in with beating the levels and then going back through and playing the challenge modes to unlock the challenge modes to be completed. But other than that, there's really nothing else to get you to want to replay it. It's just such a fun game that you just might want to replay it sometime down the line when you hit with nostalgia or something. And the price, I give it an 8 out of 10. It's $10, and I think maybe it could get away with charging probably 15, like $14.99. So it's not like a super steal, but it is a really good bang for your buck tower defense game. If this was a rating based on like what I feel is truly a good tower defense game, like a ton of fun to play and everything, this would definitely be at the top. Maybe not all the way at the top, but it would be very, very, very up there. However, this is a rating on how good a tower defense game is to being tower defense in a traditional sense. Therefore, it doesn't quite get all the way up there. Leading Kingdom Rush at a 94. Putting it in between Bug Heroes TD, just underneath that, and just above Axon TD Uprising. Guys, as always, let me know what you think in the comments below, and don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And I will catch you on the flip side. Deuces.